What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Vegas 97. We have Sean Brady going against Gilbert Burns. And yeah, looking forward to getting right back into it here for, in my opinion, a very, very good card. I'm looking forward to this one. I think for an Apex card especially, it's like one of the better Apex cards in a long time. So I'm looking forward to it. Some spots are sticking out from a betting perspective. And yeah, it seems like there's like no hype on this card, but I think a lot of it has to do with NFL coming back. Everybody's excited for football, but I think people are sleeping on this one. I think we're gonna have a very, very fun night of fights. So before we get into it and break it all down, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. This video is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you guys want to check out Prize Picks for the first time, now's a great time to do so. Use code DFSBTN. You'll get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Pretty much a free $50. So check it out. Use code DFSBTN. And on top of that, we have a free square. Caleb Williams, rookie quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He needs one passing yard. One passing yard. I think he gets it. So yeah, if you guys are new and want to check it out, use code DFSBTN. And if you guys are already on Prize Picks, use the free square. Caleb Williams will get one passing yard there. So looking forward to that. All right, back to some fights here. As always, we'll be breaking down these fights from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you want a further, more in-depth breakdown, I did post a full card breakdown and prediction video earlier in the week. All right, let's get into it here. We're going to start with the first fight of the card. We got Nathan Fletcher going against Sigurmontis Ramaska. We have Nathan Fletcher sitting around -130 and Ramaska sitting as a +110 underdog. And yeah, this was a fight that was supposed to happen at UFC Vegas 96, and Fletcher had to pull out. I think he was dealing with some staph, which is not really something you love to hear if you are on the Fletcher side. But yeah, I think this fight should be lined pretty close. I think it's a striker versus grappler matchup. Fletcher obviously has a really clear path to victory. Like, Ramaska's takedown defense is no good. His get-up game is not the best. So I could very well see a scenario where, Fletcher's able to get takedowns here, maybe even get a submission. I know some people are on the sub, but I kind of like the Ramaska side here at plus money. This is a guy that, he has a 100% finish rate. He throws with very bad intentions. Fletcher, he has been knocked out in his only loss, so I think Ramaska by knockout could be interesting, but it's not the best price. They're like all over the violence in this one. The fight doesn't go to decision, is -260. I was also looking at maybe like the finish only for Ramaska, but just ended up passing on the first fight of the night. But I think we have a pretty live dog, but I think I'm going to stay away. Next, we got the Andrade Petroski going against Dylan Budka. A fight that I really thought they were going to pull off the card after the weigh-ins. If you guys have not seen the weigh-ins, I would go recommend watching Dylan Budka weigh in, because it was probably one of the worst weigh-ins I've seen in a very long time. Outside of like William Gomi looked just awful. Holy Stolyarenko comes to mind. I mean, there's been some bad ones for sure. I mean, Aspen Ladd back in the day would always look pretty bad. But I mean, Dylan Budka just looked terrible. It looked like he was about to pass out. Looked like he was about to faint on the scale. Could barely walk off the stage. Like, I was honestly pretty certain they were going to call off this fight, and so I didn't even bother betting on it. And then it's like, the fight's on. I'm like, oh, the fight is seriously on. So before the weigh-ins, I had a pretty strong read on this fight. I like Petroski to win this fight. I think he's better wherever the fight goes. I think, although Petroski's not the best striker in the world, I think he's going to be levels above Budka in the striking. And then on top of that, I think that this fight is probably going to hit the mat one way or another. And when it does, I just think there's a big levels difference in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in favor of Andrade Petroski. And now we factor in that tough weight cut of Budka. I like Petroski here quite a bit. So for me, I know it's scary, but I think Petroski is not a bad parlay piece this week. I like the fight. Doesn't go to decision. I'm on it 1 unit +135, just because I think that covers Budka's win condition, which is like a flukish knockout, because Petroski is very chinny. We know that. And if Budka's winning, it probably is like a flukish knockout. So I like the fight. Doesn't go to decision. +135 for 1 unit. And I'm also on Petroski inside the distance for a half a unit at +235. I think Petroski gets it out of here. So yeah, Petroski for me on this one. Next, we got Gabriel Santos going against Yizha. Nothing here. I think it's going to be actually a competitive fight. If anything, it's probably a dog or pass spot here for Yizha, but I'm very high on Gabriel Santos. This guy's 0-2 in the UFC, and he needs a win here. He needs to get a win, and I think he probably does, but I just -270 on him. I just don't see how he looks -270 here unless he is getting a finish, which it's going to be tough to do. Yizha's a tough guy, so I like Santos. Santos probably by decision, but nothing sticking out. Next, we got Andre Lima going against Felipe dos Santos. Yeah, so I guess the big thing sticking out here, shout out to Lou Betcha, the Yam Bag special. On some books, they have it at plus 2,000, I think, on DraftKings, and I think maybe MGM has it. I haven't checked yet, and I'm excited to, because if they do have it at 20 to 1, it's going to be a shot for me. And the Yam Bag special is a point deduction, and Andrade Lima is just one of the biggest cheaters in the UFC. This guy's cheated in every single fight, whether he's missing weight, whether he's kicking guys in the balls, whether he's grabbing the cage, and that's the big thing. Like, he grabs the cage all the time. IPO, I mean, this guy is such a freaking cheater. So I think the point deduction at 20 to 1 is obviously crazy. So that's kind of something I'm looking to sprinkle. And I don't know. I mean, I think Lima has a ton of potential. I think this guy's very good. It's just I just haven't really been impressed with any of his performances. Just no urgency in there. All of his fights have been just really lackluster. He's winning these fights, but just really lackluster nonetheless. And I kind of think Felipe dos Santos might draw a fight out of him, which could be very interesting. So I think it's going to be a fun fight here. I do think it's a dog or pass spot, but yeah, we'll see what happens in this one. But yeah, I'm actually going to pick Dos Santos to win the fight, but I don't love it, if I'm being completely honest. I think Lima's much more skilled. He just doesn't have any urgency. Maybe that changes here, though. Next, we got Isaac Dulgarian going against Brandon Marotte. And yeah, I do have one parlay on this card, and the first leg of the parlay is just the under 1.5 in this fight. I just don't see it reaching the second round, to be honest. I think even like Dulgarian round 1, I think I saw it at plus 180. He's not terrible. Anything outside of a first round finish, he pretty much should be just ashamed of himself. He's minus 3,000, which makes him the biggest favorite in UFC history. I don't really see any buyback coming in on Marotte. So yeah, when it's all said and done, Dulgarian will be the biggest favorite in UFC history, and I think he goes out there and probably looks it as well. Should be a takedown, and then the fight should be over there shortly after. It could be a TKO, could be a sub, but I think it happens in round 1. So for me, I like the under 1.5 as a parlay piece. It's minus 350-ish. I think that's a lot better than obviously parlaying minus 3,000. So give me the under. Next, we got Jacqueline Amorim going against Vanessa Demopoulos. Yeah, so this is interesting. So if Amorim is paying off this price tag at minus 300, I think she's finishing the fight. Because if this fight does go the distance, Demopoulos probably wins. And the reason being is I don't think she's going to win the fight. I think the judges are going to just score her the fight, because that's what the judges love doing, man. I mean, the judges love Vanessa Demopoulos. There's been like 3 fights I thought she clearly lost, and the judges are scoring the fight for her. So I think if Amorim's going to pay off this price tag, she's going to, probably want to get Demopoulos out of there. I would not leave it into the hands of the crooked, corrupt judges. And I was looking at these Amorim early sub props, and they're very big numbers. On FanDuel, they have the round 1, round 2 submission combination. It was plus 450. I missed that, but I was able to get on plus 430 for a half a unit. I think if Amorim's, this fight is going to hit the mat. Both fighters have no takedown defense. Amorim literally has a 0% takedown defense. Demopoulos has a 30% takedown defense. I think there's going to be many opportunities here for Amorim to find a sub. Demopoulos is no terrible grappler, don't get me wrong. It's just Amorim's going to be just a level above. So that's really the only thing I'd look at here. The early submission props for Amorim. I would not lay minus 300 on her, because if this fight does go the distance, you're going to be sweating, and the judges, again, they're crooked, corrupt, and they love Demopoulos. So like Demopoulos by split decision could be something interesting as well, but I'm hoping Amorim just leaves it out of the hands of these guys. Next, we got Rongzhu going against Chris Padilla. Yeah, nothing here either. I mean, this is one of those fights where I like Rongzhu to win. It's just laying minus 250 on Rongzhu is kind of disgusting to me. I still remember when this guy lost to Kazula Vargas, and that's just unacceptable. But yeah, I like the matchup for him. I think he's the better striker. I think if he gets taken down, he can get back up. Do the better work on the feet. Kind of leaning decision for Rongzhu, but maybe it could be a late finish as well. Just not much sticking out on this one. Next, we got Trevor Peek going against Ashmouz. Phenomenal fight. One of my favorite fights on the card, just not from a betting perspective. It's like, these Peek fights are tough to predict. They're tough to cap. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen here, but all I know is it's going to be car crash. It's going to be chaotic. One thing that kind of drew my interest was like the fight doesn't go at minus 105 is interesting in a sense that if this fight happened, a few fights ago before some of these Peek fights went the distance somehow, I would probably be max betting it. It's just, these Peek fights have been going the distance somehow, some way. It makes no sense. There's finishing opportunities a million of finishing opportunities in all these fights, but they've been going the distance. I mean, this guy's went 45 minutes his last 3 fights, which is crazy with the style that he brings to the table. And yeah, Peek's next level durable. And on top of that, I think Peek's finishing ability at the UFC level might not be the best. I mean, he took that one dude to decision a couple fights ago. Yizha, I mean, that guy, I mean, finishing Muhammad Yizha, that's just not the best look in the world at all. So I guess this fight probably goes the distance, but it's going to be just a sweat. You're going to have a million heart attacks along the way. I'm not betting on that. Next, we got Cody Durden going against Schnell. So yeah, I like a couple spots here. I'm on the under 2.5 rounds at -130 for 2 units. If we weren't in an era of non-violence, because there's been no violence this has been the least violent summer in UFC history. Fights that should finish are going the distance at a very high clip. I'd be max betting this under 2.5 at -130. So that's kind of the one thing holding me back. But yeah, I mean, I love violence here. Schnell's chin is dust at this point. Durden has power. Durden has improved striking. Durden's going to come out here hot and look for the early finish, and he probably gets it. So yeah, on the feet, I think Durden's live for a knockout. With that said, if this fight hits the mat, Schnell, I think, is very, very live. Schnell, I think, people often forget, is honestly a very, very dangerous grappler. He has multiple submissions in the UFC. He's dangerous both on top and on bottom, too. He's very dangerous. And Durden's been submitted 4 times, almost 5. So I think that Schnell by submission's very live here. I have not bet it. And like I said, on FanDuel Sportsbook, they have those submission combination. They have the 2-3 right now at plus 1,300. I kind of think that's interesting as well. But for me, I'm just on the under 2.5 rounds, 2 units, -130. I'm hoping somebody gets served. Wherever this fight goes, somebody is going to be in danger. So yeah, give me the under 2.5 here. Next, we got Steve Garcia going against Kyle Nelson. I'm liking violence here as well. I don't mind the under 1.5, but I did parlay the fight won't start round 3 with the under 1.5 rounds in the Dulgarian Marotte fight. Came out to around -150, and I put 1.5 units on it there. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. I mean, it's a Steve Garcia fight. This guy's gonna go out there. He's kill or be killed. He has no regard for his own safety, for his own health. He's been dropped a million times. He's dropped his opponent a million times. I think it's just going to be a car crash. I think this fight is going to finish. Yeah, I wouldn't lay -180 on Garcia. I mean, he just leaves so many openings. He's been dropped so much, and Kyle Nelson does have power. But I'm going to pick Garcia here to keep it rolling. But yeah, I like the under, and the fight won't start round 3. And I have that fight won't start round 3 in a parlay. Next, we got Natalia Silva going against Jessica Andrade. Yeah, I've been kind of going back and forth on, how does this fight end? Was thinking maybe decision for Silva, then maybe thinking knockout. The more I kind of thought about it, the more I thought that, Jessica Andrade, for her to have any chance in this fight, like, she's going to have to come out there and, rush forward like a complete maniac. I mean, she's not going to be able to stick at range and stick at distance and point fight with Silva for 15 minutes. I mean, if that happens, she's going to lose 30-27. The fight's not going to be close. I think she's going to have to rush forward, and she's done that before, and we've seen, her opponents catch her. We've seen, Zhang Weili knock her out in about a minute. We saw Yan Xiaonan knock her out. And I can kind of see something like that happening here, where Andrade is going to have to she's going to need to get aggressive. She's going to need to get a little reckless. And if that happens here against Silva, Silva has that nasty head kick. She has a lot of power, like she dropped Yizha in her last fight as well. So the more I kind of thought about the fight, the more I think that Natalia Silva by knockout is live. See, I think Natalia Silva by knockout, like plus 300, plus 310 is a very good look. And if you guys have Hard Rock Sportsbook, right now they have just astronomical prices on the Silva 2-3 knockouts. Plus 2,500 for round 2 knockout, plus 3,000 for round 3 knockout. I sprinkled a quarter unit on those each. But if you guys don't have Hard Rock, I think the knockout prop in general at plus 300, it's solid. I think she's going to have a bunch of opportunities. Like Jessica Andrade has been finished 5 times by knockout. Guess who else has been knocked out 5 times? Schnell, right? I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I think Silva by knockout's the way to go. If you guys have Hard Rock, I'd hop on those 2-3 knockout sprinkles. They're still available as I speak, and they've been available almost 48 hours. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, but let's, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So let's see. All right. Then the main event, Sean Brady, Gilbert Burns. I'm not touching this fight. it's such a tough fight for me. I mean, if this fight was a couple of years ago, I think I'd be on Burns here, but he's 38 years old at this point. I was really expecting more money to come in on Burns. Like, I did a prediction video for this fight on like Sunday, and like I don't think I've ever gotten so much flack for picking Sean Brady, like with little confidence even. But a lot of people seem to be on Burns, but the money line just not reflecting that. I don't know. I'm not touching Brady though at minus 185. If anything, it is probably a dogger pass, but I don't want to lay I don't want to lay any money on a 38-year-old Gilbert Burns. So I'm just passing on the main event here. Nothing wrong with that. All right, quick recap for this card here. Natalia Silva KO 2-3 sprinkles for me, quarter unit on each. I also don't mind Natalia Silva by KO in general at plus 300 because it could very well come in the first round. Steve Garcia, Kyle Nelson, fight won't start round 3. Parlayed with Dulgarian under 1.5. That came out to around minus 150 for 1.5 units. Durden, Schnell, under 2.5 rounds, 2 units, minus 130. I got the Amorim submission round 1 or 2, plus 430 on FanDuel. What else we got? Petroski, Budka, fight doesn't go to decision. 1 unit, plus 130. And then Petroski inside the distance, half a unit, plus 235. There you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys are liking for this week. Couple spots, sticking out for sure. Again, if you guys want to check out Prize Picks, use code DFSBTN. I mean, they have a free square. I was able to get mine in there. Caleb Williams just needs 1 passing yard. And then, like I said, you'll get $50 instantly when you place your first $5 lineup. So get your $50, get your free square. It's a great time to check out Prize Picks for this upcoming NFL season. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and see ya.